Huh, told you I'd still be uploading videos. You can't get rid of me that easily, even if times are a little bit hard right now. But you know what else is hard right now? Making friends in general life. And this can be made even harder when you are furry and looking for furry friends. Because we are pretty niche, and if we're honest, we're a little bit weird. So that is what I want to put down today. I want to show you ways and maybe a little bit of advice on making friends in the furry community. And just so you know, the last one's my favourite, so stick around for that one. So starting off with a couple of sections that are probably the most obvious ways to make furry friends, and that is by going to a FurCon. And I know by the mere mention of talking about FurCons, people are going to be like, Woofles, I hate you, and please stop shitting on my lawn. But keep with me with this one, because with most FurCons, there are these allocated times and areas for specific furry meetups. For example, Nordic FuzzCon this year had Christian, Railway, Skating, Kimono, Unusual, Fat, Botanical, Swedish, Avian, Grey Muzzle, Musical, Pokemon, Cub, Inflatable, Foodie. And that is before we even get on to stuff like events like karaoke. So FurCons do an amazing job at creating times and areas for furries with specific interests. And I know it's really tricky to really get in contact with a lot of people because, believe it or not, majority of furries are introverts, like myself. But believe me when I say the hardest part of socializing is walking up and saying hi. And obviously, without interrupting the conversation, you could maybe introduce yourself. And it doesn't need to be something like, here is my entire lore. It doesn't need to be anything big or fancy or whatever. It could literally just be, hey, my name's Woofles. And believe me, that makes a big difference. It's getting your name in there and it's starting a little conversation. I know this can be really tricky, but honestly, I believe in you. You've got this. All it takes is one big push and you've got this. On the flip side, if you are somebody that goes to a FurCon with a group of friends and you do go to these meetups and you find perhaps a fur by themselves, maybe a little bit nervous, then get people involved, call people in and be like a herder of furries, get everybody in the group, get them involved. Because this could be done by simply asking them oh, what's your favourite Pokemon if you're at the Pokemon meetup, or what's your favourite instrument? If it's at the musical furry, it could be something small. But please make sure that you keep the questions at a softball level, because end of the day, there's nothing worse than going to something that you've got an interest in, but you're not an expert on, and having somebody come up to you and talk about a whole load of things that you have no idea about. Please don't be that furry that's tell me what Pokemon is the 621st Pokemon in the Pokedex. Cause nobody knows that. It's Dredigan, by the way, just in case anybody was wondering. Make of that what you will. But believe me, this makes a massive difference, particularly for people who are perhaps socially anxious and don't really know anybody else. And who knows, you might just make another friend in your group. So if going to a physical FurCon isn't possible, whether it's too expensive or travel, or perhaps you're stuck under a mountain of YIF magazines, who knows? Another option would be going to a virtual FurCon. And one of the biggest virtual FurCons in the world is Furality, and it happens twice a year, and it usually has a theme, which is always really fun. So Furality have even more and more diverse meetups, and has the benefit of being a 48-hour convention, unlike some conventions which stop at midnight and start up at 8 o'clock. Furality runs all through the night because it's a global online convention. And I think one of the best parts about going to these virtual FurCons is that if you start getting overwhelmed, I know quite a few people do when you go to a FurCon, you can take off the helmet or switch off the screen and you're back home. You got your home comforts and you get some time to relax and just breathe in and out, and then if you're feeling back up to it, you get straight back to it. You can do whatever you want, and I think there's so much that you can do with it. The extra bit is that you get to turn up as your Fursona, or in a furry avatar that you absolutely love. And I think that also creates this kind of social safety barrier with a lot of people, particularly like people who are socially anxious, because you come up as like Woofles instead of me. So like, I think it does give you this extra boost, whereas sometimes with fur cons, it can be a little bit tricky because to come up as like your Fursona, you have to have like maybe a fursuit, and those things don't come cheap. So I'm not going to repeat what I said in the physical cons, but it also applies here, like the saying hi is the hardest part and gather around all those furries if you're in a group. But what I will add is remember to be respectful. Don't go and keep following people or keep trying to barge into conversations and stuff. Just be respectful of people. And also remember, just because one conversation doesn't go very well, or like an event doesn't go quite the way you wanted it to go, that doesn't mean that you should give up, because end of the day, over 14,000 furries attended Furality, and all you need is 1 or 2 people to click with. Yeah, so just keep on trying, you will find somebody that really clicks with you and you can develop like a natural friendship. So the next 2 suggestions do come with safety warnings, but another way to make friends would be through Telegram group chats. This could be like you could search up like see if there's any local furry chats and stuff, or this could just be on a specific interest of you, like again with Pokemon or something like that. And here's where the warning comes in with it, because remember to keep safe, because if like some of these groups might be over like 1,000 strangers. So perhaps like having maybe somebody to vouch for the group, or perhaps make sure there's like no controversy or something with the group, because end of the day, your safety comes first more than anything in the world. And this kind of ties in with my second suggestion, which would be to go to furry meetups. And again, the reason I flopped these 2 together is because the same advice goes. Make sure that you're being safe and that like somebody can vouch for the group or whatever. And if you are going to go to a furry meetup, and it's like particularly your first time, please make sure it's like somewhere public that is safe. Because like I said, your safety comes like above everything. Finally, and in my own opinion, one of the best ways to make furry friends is go on Twitch. Okay, I promise you I'm not trying to self-promote my Twitch channel, Woofles the Waffler, streaming Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, 7 PM UK time. Anyway, the reason I genuinely think that Twitch is one of the best ways to make furry friends is because you can easily identify which are furry channels. Like you can go to the search tab, search furry, and you will be met with thousands and thousands of like channels with the furry tag on. Even more, you can find out so much about a streamer and their community even before you start talking to them, because you can see the way they interact with their chat, and perhaps like even the game they're playing can give you like a little hint of their likes and dislikes. For example, they might be playing your favorite game, Tentacle Hentai Fox Simulator. I don't know why that's the first one that came to my mind. I think I have a problem. But you can talk about like that favorite game with them as they play through it and see what they think and develop that bond. As long as you're not doing any spoilers or backseating, because there's nothing worse as a streamer with somebody backseating or or spoiling it for you. This is how I met some of my favourite furry streamer friends, because one of my furry friends, we found out that we love Final Fantasy X and we endlessly quote it. It's great. We also find that we love Silent Hill, we love furry shit, and also that we were born in the same year. Some of those are a bit more important than others. But with this, please remember not to force a friendship. Because end of the day, a streamer or chatter might be really talkative and interactive on stream, but off stream they may have a really low social battery. So by like forcing this kind of conversation or whatever, you might make them actually feel really uncomfortable. And even more than that, by kind of forcing these kind of conversations, you're putting so much effort in, whereas the best kind of friendships are ones that kind of develop naturally and you can naturally have a conversation. So on the flop side, if you're somebody who perhaps wants to take up streaming to make friends, then remember to be patient. because streaming takes a lot of time and effort, and sadly, over 86% of streamers struggle to get past 5 viewers. But this doesn't mean that streaming to a relatively lower number of viewers is pointless, despite what some people might think. Because as a smaller streamer, you would be able to do a one-to-one conversation with lots of people, really get to know people that are coming in. Whereas a stream channel that's got perhaps like 50 plus viewers might struggle a little bit more to keep like 20 conversations going at once. And that's not to say that like bigger streamers don't really chat or they may be a bit more struggle to chat. It just means that the more viewers in the channel, the harder it is to really get to know your viewers. But if you can overcome these hurdles, then perhaps streaming on Twitch may actually be a great option for you, because then you're able to really put out all the things you like, all the things you enjoy out in the world, and see if you can form a community around things you like. So those are some methods that people have used to make furry friends. Which would you say is the best one? And is there any that I missed that you guys would include? Pop them down in the comment section, I would love to find out about it. And if you've got some time, pop over to my Twitter, where I give you like meme, YouTube, Twitch updates, and by following, you give this little woofer some like ego boost. But thank you so much guys, and remember that you mattered yesterday, you matter today, and you matter tomorrow. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Mwah!